We got together in 2011 just to do some jamming here at the hangar. Everybody that was in the group then were pilots. And so the convenient place was right here in this spot where we're sitting. And during that jamming time, some people heard us and asked us to play for an event.
So in the beginning, there were a group of guys, mostly pilots, who got together to play a few songs for a Civil Air Patrol get-together that was being held here in Pell City. And we thought it was going to be a one-off kind of deal, so we did, I think, 10, maybe 12 songs here in this hangar, as a matter of fact. And that was kind of like fun and the end.
Well, while we were playing for that event, somebody came and asked us to play for another event, and it kind of snowballed from there. So we're going into our 11th year of making music, which keeps us off the street and out of trouble. We've changed people a few times, but the core group is still the same, and we're still making the vintage rock and roll from the 60s and 70s primarily.
The WingNuts are comprised of 7 members. The people who were here at the outset would include Donnie Todd, lead guitar player, Alan Furr, rhythm guitar player, Glenn Wilson, who does a whole lot of stuff, and Mickey Farmer, who's the bass player. Those people are still in the band, and they were here in the beginning. People who are different and who have been added since the inception would include our drummer, Bobby Breed, my wife, Sandra Furr, who plays keys and some percussion instruments, including the cowbell, and Elizabeth Money, who sings vocals with us.
Well, the WingNuts concert is kind of unique in that the music is the music that doesn't die. It's very popular even with 20 and 30-year-olds today, even though the music is older than some of the members of our band. So it's music that has just kind of an eternal life, and it rocks on by groups like the Beatles, Rolling Stones, that are still people that are still playing today after 50 years of performing. The theme for this concert is going to be the British are coming. We're going to highlight some of the better known groups of the 60s and early 70s, of the British artists that invaded America and brought their music over, which had a profound effect on what the American artists were doing at the time. And to give you an example, when the Beatles came in 1963, Bobby V had the #1 hit in the US at the time, so you can see how big of a change the Beatles made on American music. Well, we had been doing 2 concerts a year at SEPA, one in the spring and one in the fall, and we started preparing for this show to be held in the spring of 2020. But like so many things, COVID had its impact and pushed us to the fall of 2020. We couldn't do it then, so we pushed it to the spring of 2021. We still weren't quite out of the woods yet, so here we go. Now for the fall of 2021, we're finally going to get to do it.
I think people who come to this show should expect, first of all, to have a seat in the SEPA, which gives you a really intimate experience, because there's not a bad seat there. Every seat is a good seat at SEPA, in my opinion. But I think what they will see is a fine group of musicians who love the music, who study the music, who attempt as best as humanly possible to recreate songs as they were originally performed, who provide both a visual backdrop of interesting anecdotal things, photographs, imagery that will kind of take you back in time. Plus, we'll give you a little historical basis for many of these songs with some tidbits of knowledge that the average person probably would not know.
Okay, the concert will be a Sunday afternoon matinee, November the 7th, at 2 o'clock. We're going to highlight these groups. We're also going to tell the stories behind the music and behind the groups that did it. So there'll be a lot to entertain the people that show up.